Hey everyone, I'm here at work, and I was thinking about doing a series of things that happened here. And what I mean by things that happened here, I mean like you may not be a believer in ghosts or spirits or things that happen, supernatural, I don't care, but over the past 20 years, things have happened to me here and to people, from seeing things to actual physical contact, touching, stuff falling off the walls that I try to explain. There ain't anything I can do. Nothing I can do to explain why this happened, why that happened. It's an old building, you know, things happen, but some things, just being an old building isn't going to explain it. The wind, no. From seeing things to, you know, everything like I said before. I give you a little history about this place. It was built in 1942. It was a munitions factory, so it built bombs and stuff like that, and bullets. And I can actually, to this day, if we walk down the dock, there are bullets that are mushroomed out flat, and you can find them up along the wall. And I don't know if they struck the wall. I don't see no holes in the wall, but there's big chunks taken out. One big chunk taken out, and that's just probably from stray bullets. But like I said, it used to be a munitions factory, and it was decommissioned in 1969. I ran into somebody out on the street, and we were talking about this place, and he says, yeah, he was stationed in Germany years ago, and he took a 30-day leave, and he was supposed to come back and report to this place, but they closed it down. I don't know why. He never explained why, but the people just tell me all kinds of stuff about this place that make deliveries here. They knew this place, about this place, and stuff like that. Well, being a munitions plant, you don't know. Maybe someone died, maybe, you know, and still maybe haunt this place. I don't know. But I'm going to make a series of things that happened here, and I'm going to use my knowledge. I started writing them down a few years ago, and I started by the first day we moved here. And you could see this place is pretty darn old, and if you see anything happen behind me, let me know. Because I'm here all night, and I'm here all day, so I see things. I've had things happen to me. I'll explain in the other videos. I'm going to start from day one, and when I wrote these down, I tried to remember the best I can to put them in order they happened through the years. And up to a certain date, I started writing the times and dates down that they are happening. So, because I've had things hit me before, nothing much. Nothing much. Nothing much. When you work with a place, you know sounds are, and you know if that, I mean, I can sit there and hear a machine making a noise and I'll know exactly what it is. You work with it long enough. And being in a building, you know if it's settling, this sound and that sound. You always heard it throughout the years, so you get accustomed to it. But there are some things that I can't explain, and I'm going to be doing it in a series of videos. Like I said before, you might not be a believer. I wasn't a believer until stuff started happening and people telling me stuff that they never known about this place, or I never even told them that they would come up to me and talk to me about it. But so here's my story. Well, everyone, here we are. I have all my stuff written down, so I get to read it off of here. I'm just going to scan through it and then explain about what happened and what I believe of that day. And I pretty much remember everything that happened pretty good. Let me go on the record of saying I did mock ghost stories, ghost hunting TV shows, and I even made a video that I put a camera up there and made a video of a ghost walking across. That was a hoax. That was me. So I do believe in ghosts. I do believe in stuff that happens, paranormal crap, but that being said, you can call me a hypocrite, whatever, but these are my experiences. I don't believe in ghost TV shows because they have ratings to do and all kinds of other stuff. So that being said, let's get on with what we were going to say. It all started a little bit over 21 years ago, right here in this spot. We moved here. The machine was facing this wall here, the storage room. My back was toward everything else. We only went out 20, 40, 60, 80, 100 feet, and maybe 80 feet that away, and everything else was black. It was all, the lights were just turned off, just these were turned on here. And I remember it started around, I came in at 11 o'clock and worked till 7 in the morning. We had 3 shifts, one person per shift. And I remember there was a stack of pallets over there, and we had different bundles of boxes and stuff laying around. And I remember from 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock, I kept hearing knocks. And being new in a warehouse, I didn't know what, the sounds and stuff like that, but it kept coming from that stack of pallets. I would go over there and I would move them and rock them and everything, and I never found any mice or anything like that running around, or never seen anything. But for 2 hours, it was constantly like that. And it just kept bugging me. I ended up going outside because I could hear noises down there and stuff. So it was probably the building settling. I don't know. But it happened for 2 hours, and then at 4 o'clock it just stopped. Nothing happened. The next thing we ended up getting a little bit bigger, and the owner bought another machine. He put it between the poles over there, and we had 2 people working. And I worked with a guy named John, and he told me he was scared. It was weird because he says he swore he's seen a black figure go around the side of his bundle. Me and him are the only one here, and they really freaked him out. So what he's seen, I don't know. So that goes with that. But he was kind of startled about that. I don't know what he's seen, but we were still new. We didn't know. Our mind was playing tricks on us or not. But that's what he told me. Another time, as we grew, we got bigger and bigger, and we moved our machines around here and there, but we ended up putting them back where they're at now. And there was a wall. I mean, the ceiling's 16 feet high, and there was a wall of Celotex. Celotex is like a fibrous board. It's real thin. And there was a break room back there. And in the wall, there was a hole. Someone cut a hole so they didn't have to walk all the way around. They just walked right through here to come up to the bathroom. And on the other, in between the walls, there were studs, and then there was I can't remember what you call that, but anyways, there was another board. There was a 2x4 that was there, and it was warped. And I remember, you walk through there enough times, you know that sound. You understand what that sound is, and it was like a clunk clunk, when you walked on it and stuff. So it was one morning. It was about 5:30 in the morning. I was up here, and I was walking from the break room to the bathroom, and I heard that clunk clunk all the way up here. And this is some years later. And I heard that scared me enough that I knew something was there. I got my keys and I parked across the street, and I waited till someone got here, and we came in and we didn't see anything. So I was in the break room, and we have an old kitchen clock, regular kitchen clock, like a 8-inch kitchen clock you have in your house, and runs on batteries. And there was a nail holding, actually 2 nails. I don't know why they put 2 nails. They were in there sturdy. They ain't gonna fall out. But I was in the corner. The clock was, this high off the ground, up in the corner, and I was sleeping in my chair. I was sitting there in there sleeping. And it was like 5 o'clock, 5:30 in the morning. Everybody came in at 7. We started at 7 o'clock. and I was sleeping, and I woke up. What woke me up was hearing it slide off the nail. Because I heard the initial shh, and it fell to the floor and broke and just scared the heck out of me. As you can imagine, being woke up by a clock, you didn't know what the heck was going on. I pick it up, I try to put it together, it's broke, you can't fix it. So what we do, we get a bigger clock, you know, kind of you see in department stores and stuff on the wall, pretty big clock. And we put that up there. 2 weeks later, I'm sitting in the same chair, same place, that clock falls too. Falls to the ground, breaks. I had no explanation for it. I don't know. Nothing explained. So I put it back together. It worked. I put it back up on the wall. It stayed there for years. Never fell off after that. About 16, 17 years later, we replaced them clocks with a digital clock. And a guy named Sean that worked here, I mentioned that to him, and he says, that's weird because that clock fell off the nail. You know, he said a few months ago it fell off. It didn't break, but they put it back up, and since then it never fell off. So in the storage room, I took up 8 feet of the last part of this wall in this room, and I made my own room. I made a wall, I put plastic on the other side in case you had to do anything in there, block the dust. I put a door on it and everything. And I had a TV and stuff in there, and I heard a noise. I heard like a noise on, I don't know where it was. It was that away, you know, to my right because of the way I was laying down. And I heard a noise, and I banged my knee against the wall. And like 3 seconds later, boom. It didn't hit the wall that I banged my knee against, but it hit a wall, and I heard it. So I was like, oh yeah, really, guy? And I banged my knee again, and about 5 seconds later, I heard it again. It was louder, and it sounded a little closer. I didn't bang my knee again. I had the plastic, I had the wall on the inside, then I had studs, and I had plastic on the outside. It's like a dust barrier. I remember one day I was sitting in there laying down, and I woke up, and to the sound, it was the sound I was having was like somebody was lowering the plastic, because I had it stapled to the ceiling, slowly lowering the plastic to the floor. I can hear it crumpling as it's going to the floor. And I sat there just listening to it. It lasted about 20 seconds, just slowly lowering to the floor. I get up, I open up my door, and I look at the plastic, expect it to be on the floor. It's still stapled up to the wall. I bought a cork bulletin board, put it in the break room. And one morning I come in, and it was a Monday morning, and I was like, all right, let me go on to work, and I go to put the key in the door handle to open the door, and I heard a loud noise in there, in the break room, right behind the door. I look in through the window is located right next to it, and I didn't see any movement or anything like that, so I was like, okay, so I open up the door, turn the light on, I'm looking around, and here the bulletin board that I put up fell to the ground. Now, I remind you, it had all weekend to fall. Why did it fall right before I put the key in that keyhole? I don't know. But it fell. It waited all weekend, and then it fell. It just, I don't know. I came in through the break room, and I was going to make coffee. Well, I was going to bring my stuff through the break room, go to my room, put my stuff in my refrigerator. And right there, right in the middle of the break room, right in my path that I was walking through the door to come out into the warehouse, I smelled perfume. It didn't smell anybody that had perfume here. I didn't recognize anybody wearing that perfume, but it was there. And I don't know where it came from. It was all night to dissipate. Perfume would dissipate after so many hours, 16 hours of, you know, nobody working. But I smell perfume, don't know where it came from. Don't have no idea. Nobody was here. I have my machine. It's closest to a cement wall, the brick wall. And then there's a machine behind me. And then somebody runs the machine behind that. And my machine's 1, machine 2, and then somebody runs machine 3. Machine 2 wasn't run for a few years. It was just, never really ran it. Didn't need anybody on it, but if we needed it, it was there, we could run it. And the person that ran number 3 constantly told me that she always seen black figures, like it would just catch her eye, like something was sweeping by or something like that. And actually I have seen the same thing. Out the corner of my eye, I would see something. And I just always shrugged it off. It was nothing or whatever, but that machine just always had something weird. I always catch something. One day we'd see it a couple times and then, it wouldn't be there or whatever, but she always told me that she would always see something there, and that was interesting. Didn't know what it was. There was another time where a girl was working here and I had a bundle pushed out on my rollers. The arm on her glasses came out, and she needed to put that little screw in there and tighten it up. Well, she was on one side of the bundle, I was on the other side of the bundle, my back was toward the wall. Her mom was working about 15 feet away, and we're sitting there working. Nobody's around us, and she looked at me, and her face was pale, and you could see in her eyes, she said, something just brushed up against me. And she was scared. And there was nobody around me, and she started looking around like something did actually just touch her. And that was weird. And you could tell in her face she wasn't screwing around. It scared her really good. This happened when my break room's right over here. I moved it from here years ago, and I put it in there, and I took everything out of there and I put it in there. And well, anyways, I was in there, and one night I was watching Letterman, David Letterman, and when you can imagine what time that comes on, all the doors are locked, nobody's here, I'm the only one here. The girls' bathroom is a big wooden door, and it has, it's a heavy door. I heard that thing slam shut, and you can imagine what I thought. You're wide awake, you hear a big door slam shut, and it's right in this hallway that's on this other side of your wall. I didn't come out, I didn't look, I didn't come out until somebody got here at 7 o'clock in the morning. That scared the hell out of me. There was one time where I was on my machine, I walked down my stairs and walked out into the middle of off of my machine, I would say about 20 feet out, and I smelled cigarette smoke. Actual cigarette smoke. If you're in a building that you don't smoke cigarettes in, you distinctly smell cigarette smoke. I looked around, nobody was smoking. I went through this, the fire doors, a big fire door we have. I looked over there, maybe somebody was smoking on the other side of the door, nobody was over there. Nobody. I couldn't explain it. It was only in that one certain spot that smoke was, that I smelled it. I don't know what that was. That was just weird. Some years later, I was driving a forklift, and in the aisle we were pretty empty up here, and it's probably 60 by 60 area of space that was empty. And I'm driving the forklift down to get a couple bundles that were up against the wall, and I stopped. I smelled cigarette smoke again. This is the second time I smelled it. I don't know where it's coming from. Nobody's there. Nobody smokes in the building. They all do all their smoking outside, but in that certain spot, I backed up through it. In that certain spot, you only smelled smoke. There's nothing around. I can't explain it. It smelled like cigarettes. I don't know. Another time, when it starts getting cold outside, we would have plastic sheeting. We would plastic off and make a wall from the ceiling to the floor, and we only heat so much of our warehouse, and we keep the heat in. Well, the owner, everybody's gone, and he has the, he went to the back, he's closing up the doors in the back, just checking everything. He's walking, and he heard a bundle creak, you know, like creaking. And that's normally, you push them out, and it's hanging, I mean, it's 300 pounds, 400 pounds, it'll creak. Boxes will creak. And he didn't think nothing of it. But then he heard one of the banding clips for the banding fall on the floor. Now, this is a few seconds after that, but it fell on the floor. He didn't know where it came from. He'd come around the corner and he'd peek in looking for somebody might have dropped one or something. He's looking around the corner. Kind of spooked him. It spooked him out a little bit. So he couldn't explain it. It was weird. Just came out of nowhere. A few weeks later, we have a clock down on one of the poles. It's about 6.5, 7 foot off the ground. And you kind of, you know, I could reach up and grab it if I stand on something, you know, just, well, it might be a little higher, I don't know, but it's kind of high up on the pole. And it is a kitchen clock, not the same one because we threw that one away. I told you earlier, it broke. We had one up there, and everybody would use that one. And one of the girls came over to me and asked me if I touched that clock because it was off an hour. I was like, no, and daylight savings time or whatever wasn't going on, and it was off 1 hour. And I was like, that was weird. And she says, can you go down there and fix it? So I went down there and fixed it. And I says, I didn't touch it, but I'll fix it. So I fixed it. 2 days later, it's off again. And she comes down, and she was kind of upset about it. She told me, she goes, I appreciate it if you wouldn't change that clock. And I told her, I says, I'm not changing it. I'm not touching it. We got a little bit of a, you know, an argument there. And I says, I'm not touching that clock. I don't know what you're talking about. I ain't touching it. Nobody's touching it. Later on, I went down there and changed it. And it was about a few weeks later, I was driving Lyft, and I'm driving around back there, and I looked at that clock. And it was exactly 1 hour off again. So I went over to that girl that was talking to me before, claiming that I changed it. I went over to her mom, and I says, how long was that clock off? She says, the clock's been off for at least a week. And only 1 hour off for at least a week. I can't explain it. So I went down there, and no, I think I just left it. I left it. I didn't even mess with it anymore. I didn't even care. I think the last one for this episode, you always see these ghost hunting shows where they have recorders and all the electrical equipment and everything like that. Well, I says, you know what, I'm going to try it. So back by my machine, I had the lights on back there, and I had a little voice recorder, and I was telling whatever I was talking. I was like, well, if you're here, make a noise talking to this, whatever. I said, well, I'm going to set it here, and I'm going to go up front to go to the bathroom. I set it there on my bundle. I came walking up front, and later on I come back, you know, and I stopped it, and I rewound it to see if I got anything when I was up front. Well, when I listened to it, it sounded like a, not a cough, but it sounded like an old-time hand-crank siren that people held to warn other people. And it was winding down. We don't have any sirens here going off at 6 o'clock in the morning. And that was just weird. I went home and I played it. I showed some other people, and they says, yeah, that's a hand-crank siren. I put it on the computer, I listened to it. That's exactly what it sounded like. Like it was kind of faint, but you heard it. So that I couldn't explain that. There you go. That's what we've got for this episode. You know, stay tuned. I got a lot more. Like I said before, you might not believe. That's fine. But these are the stupid things that happened here.